In this lesson, we're going to make a tube that goes between the boiler and this drivetrain element. But in the end of the last lesson, I noticed that this platform we created could use a little more size. It's actually not under the ladder, so what we're going to do is simple. We're going to just go in, get the scale tool. I'm going to make it a little more front to back dimension. And I'm going to pull it out this way so that it comes underneath the ladder, just like that. Shift it down just like a little bit. Just touch right there, that's fine. And that's good, it's not bothersome. We can tweak it out a little bit, just like that. Okay, and then if you want to, you can do the same with the bumper, or you can manipulate the verts to make it line up. It's not bothering me, it feels good. Okay, so with that said, we're going to select this piece, F4, so I can see the wireframe. That's the drivetrain element. We're going to select the boiler. Let's Alt and Q and go to left viewport. Hide that bumper while we're at it. Okay. And here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Create, MVH Primitives, Tube Cap, and right here, I'm going to just drag out a tube cap, hit F3 if you need to, inset a little bit. I'm going to make it 8 sides. Oop, 8, not 18. There we go. And I'm going to go to Perspective. I'm going to pull it out. It's probably right at the center of the boiler because that's where the origin is, and that's where it is. Okay. There we go. Let's right-click, convert to editable poly. And finally, let's just shift and drag with the move manipulator as a copy. And rotate with your snaps active. They're active right now, 90 degrees. Okay. I'm going to move this one down just a little bit above that pink part, the drivetrain element. I want to get it kind of centered on that piece. There we go. Maybe a little bit more that way. Okay. And what we want to do now, if we want, we can unhide the, let's exit isolation. We can unhide the blueprint for a second. So go to Layer Manager, Blueprints, let's unhide it. And left view, L. Let's click on the boiler and Alt and X and see if this circle is roughly the size of that. And it is. It did a pretty good job by eye. I'll center it up a little bit more. And grab the other one. There it is. Center that up just like that. Perspective, we can hide the blueprints again. They're not explicit reference. We're just using them as a guide. Hide the layer manager. Perspective. There we go. Now let's control to select other elements while keeping this selection. Control and click on that drivetrain element, the boiler, and the other tube cap we've created. Alt and Q to isolate them all. Let's get that boiler and Alt X so we can see a little better. There we go. Select the tube cap. And let's go here to freeform. We did this earlier. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick on surface and we're going to pick the boiler just like that. Leave the offset to 0.1. Click on conform. Make sure that your full strength is 100 and your conform is 100, and mine is. And what we're going to do is just brush this tube cap right back onto the boiler just like that. That's exactly what we want. Let's save our file. Okay. And click out of conform. And now we want to do the same with this other piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab it, select it, there we go. Surface again, boiler, we're going to click on boiler and we're going to select this part, and it's called rectangle. We need to rename that, so I got to keep that in mind. And we'll go here to conform, and we're going to conform brush this piece right down onto that. Now the problem here is that there's a little bit of an angle. Some of this got stretched. I think if we do it now, this tube that connects the two might look a little off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this edge, click out of conform, go to select, edge, click that edge, W to move. I'm going to move it up a little bit. F3 to see how that looks. I think it needs to go up a bit more. Just like that. That's not too bad. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the two tube caps. Attach, grab that other tube cap, border selection. I'm going to grab one border and the other. And now we're going to bridge them. Okay, it looks a little twisted. There are values for this kind of thing in here. Segments, bias, twist. Let's just click it once that way. See, that helped a lot. And I'm going to click OK. And that's perfect. Okay, so now what we want to do, vertex selection, F3. Let's grab all of those bottom set of vertices. Let's just shift this up a little bit, just like that. Grab a border selection and shift drag it down, give a little depth to it, maybe 2 times, just like that. And kick it back a little this way. There we go. And then let's do the same here. We're going to grab that border. First grab the verts, pull them out just a touch. There we go. And then we're going to do border selection right there. Shift drag it back a little bit. Okay, let's add a turbo smooth. Hit T 3 times in the modifier list. Enter. And you can see that that smooths out pretty good. Let's make it 2 iterations. And let's go in and tighten this up a little. Edge, back down to the stack. And we're going to come in here, Alt R for ring selection on that group of edges. And we're going to use connect. And we're going to use 2 segments. And we're going to use the pinch value. And just push those out just like that. Let's add 1 more segment to break that pipe up. Check for OK. And let's turn turbo smooth back on. Turn F4 off so we can see. And that's what we want. That's exactly what we want. Just a pipe that goes from the side of the train out to the drivetrain element. Let's name that. We'll call that junction pipe underscore pipe dash 01. And while we're at it, let's grab that pink part. And we're going to call that drivetrain main dash 01. Okay, so we've named those objects. And what we're going to do later, we're going to take everything we do here, copy it to the other side. So keep that in mind. Let's exit isolation. It looks really good. If you want to, you can add either rivets or bolts around here. It's not in the reference, but it might add something. So what I want to do, let's do it really quick. F3. I'm going to grab these 2 edges, Alt and L for a loop selection. I'm going to just give them a touch on the scaling. And if it doesn't look right, I'm going to return it. Just like that. Turn on turbo smooth, F4. That looks okay. And now I'm going to grab one of these bolts right here. Rather than go to hardware layer, we have them here living on this layer. Drag it out. I'm going to say OK as a copy. I'm going to align the pivot. So we come over here to this tab right here, hierarchy, effect pivot only, center the object, and that's it. And now we're going to come in, zoom in with the Z key. Let's center it right there. And we can manually place these actually. So let's take it, shift drag it up as a copy, F3 so you could see a little better. Drag it out to the front, nudge it. Gonna need to rotate it probably a little bit, so hit E. There we go. It's not an exact science. This one though, if we take it and drag it across, is perfectly aligned for that section. So there we go. And let's drag it down, just like that. Okay. Drag it back a little bit. Zoom in. Just by eye, we're aligning it. Hit E to rotate. Rotate that one a little bit. Maybe rotate it this way. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just it's going to be seen at such a distance where we just want this detail so that we get some shadows and reflections and stuff. Okay, and let's shift and drag that to the other side. Copy. Make sure it looks good. Probably can mirror that one. It has a little bit of an angle along the Y. And let's take the top one. Shift drag it down to the bottom as a copy. May not even be visible. And I'm going to say maybe we'll delete it just because why waste the polygon. So let's delete that. But you could have it there if you want. And you can do the same down here. I'm going to leave that up to you if you want to do it. I'm going to pick up in the next lesson. So in the next lesson, I think we'll begin to build the cabin. So that's the next lesson. I'm going to pause the video.